Carolina BBQ Festival's 5th anniversary will be the Queen City's biggest barbecue party yet. 30 pitmasters, 3 big events, and it all gets started with the barbecue brunch, brisket and biscuits. Expert barbecue pitmasters team up with Charlotte's top chefs to create a curated food event in partnership with Savor Charlotte. Brisket and Biscuits, March 28th at Town Brewing in Charlotte. Reserve your tickets right now at CarolinaBBQFest.org. To discover other features in Savor Charlotte's March culinary adventure, visit the Eat and Drink menu at charlottesgotalot.com. Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse is one of the pitmasters featured at this year's Carolina BBQ Festival. His successful culinary career spans from executive chef roles in corporate catering and food service to almost 8 years at pitmaster and co-owner of Black Powder Smokehouse locations, first in Jamestown and Asheboro. And our guest today is going to share some exciting news about the new Smoke and Ashe Barbecue Festival coming up in downtown Asheboro. Keith, welcome to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I always love talking to you.
Yeah, we love having you on the podcast. And Keith, I've given you kind of the LinkedIn resume introduction for our audience. Why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself to our listeners out there?
Oh, gosh, nobody cares about me. Yeah, so I've been a chef for a long time. I was talking to my wife. This is going on 32 years that I've been in this business and barbecuing for about 8 of that. Just really fell in love with it and just carried that experience. Ended up with the 2 smokehouses, and we've got a great catering business here in town. So just loving every minute of it right now.
And we're excited to talk about some new barbecue festival stuff you've got also to start loving on in Asheboro and more of those happenings at Black Powder Smokehouse and around the North Carolina Piedmont barbecue scene. But first, Keith, I got to ask you, imagine your favorite barbecue order, what you want in a barbecue meal. What is it?
My favorite barbecue order, man, I think some good short ribs. Beef short ribs. That's probably my top over brisket, but I'm definitely going beef short ribs. Even if I had some nice homemade corn tortillas with some good tomatillo salsa or something like that, make some tacos out of it. That's how I would go.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to go. So let's talk Smoke and Ashe now. It's a big new event coming up April 24th and 25th, downtown Asheboro. Tell me all about it, Keith.
Yeah, so we've been down in Asheboro now for 3 years. And then my partner is from Randolph County, and so he's from that area. And we've always talked to people. They used to do a KCBS competition in town. It was called Pigs and Pedals. And they stopped doing that. And then a couple of years ago, a couple of the folks on the town council talked to us and said, man, we really need to try to think about getting something like the Pinehurst Festival or one of these types of things to Asheboro. And so we kicked it around for a couple of years. And of course, my relationship with Peter and David of the Pinehurst Festival, because we do that one. And so we talked to them, brought them on board. They've been great with this event, and we've teamed up with downtown Asheboro, the city of Asheboro, and Black Powder and Benny Keith. And, this is going to be the inaugural festival, and it's going to be very similar to kind of what Peter and David do in Pinehurst. We're going to have 5 pitmasters there. We've got a great pitmaster dinner planned on Friday night that we're going to host at the Smokehouse. I've got my executive chef and pitmaster in Asheboro's put together a great menu, and we're going to be featuring some cool local products. We've got a bunch of bourbon going along with it. But we're just excited to get people to Asheboro because we love being down there. We want to get people in to see the restaurants and the businesses that are there. It's a great downtown. They have a social district, so you can go into the different restaurants and get a drink and come back out to the festival. So we're really hoping for a good turnout. We're going to pray for some good weather. But this is something that we would love to just do year to year, and not necessarily make it bigger every year, but just have an event that gets people into Asheboro.
Yeah, an intimate, right-sized event for the downtown area. And I kind of look at your website here. I know things are kind of in progress, but it looks like you've got a pretty strong list of pitmasters you've got for the Saturday event. You want to talk about those guys at all?
Yeah, so I've talked to Claire just through email and some texts and things like that. So Claire Calvin, who opened east of Texas, and she's getting ready to open another one in Durham at the American Tobacco campus. Amazing restaurateur for Winston-Salem. So we wanted to get her on board. It's not a name that you see at a lot of these festivals, so we really wanted to reach out and get her involved. Of course, we got Lou. He's my barbecue little brother, it seems like. He's great. And then Unity, who we don't have any hard feelings against, from the Smithfield Cup. We did invite him, so I'm sure there'll be no trash talking when
we'll talk a little bit more about that. Yeah. That's Alan Wilson from Unity Barbecue, right?
Yeah, so they're going to be here, and I'm sure they're not going to rub it in that they beat us. But yeah, it's just a great lineup. We're excited about it. We got Nick Dampf, recognized by Michelin. I haven't personally met him, so I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to probably in the next couple of weeks, we're going to go around and shoot some quick videos with some of the folks and get to know them before they step foot in Asheboro. But we're super excited. The barbecue community is such an awesome community, super friendly. Everybody's willing to help out, and to get this lineup for the first year, we're excited.
Yeah, really solid. You mentioned Nick Dampf. We've had him on the podcast again, getting great accolades for what he's turning out there in the Cary part of North Carolina. So as Smoke and Ashe is coming to downtown Asheboro, you say it's kind of replacing a sort of a competition event. Have you encountered any challenges in trying to get this going, maybe in light of what the history of barbecue festivals have been in downtown? Is there anything you've got to shed from that and try to, launch as you're starting something new here?
Well, I think as soon as people start to see a lot of people cooking, they automatically think it's a competition. And so that's probably the first thing that we hear is like, oh, so you guys going to win this? But it's not a competition at all. It's really just a celebration of barbecue and food and the chefs that we have in this area. And so that's probably the first thing that we try to steer people away from. I think the local businesses in Asheboro, when they had the competitions don't bring a lot of people to town. It's not an open to the public type event. And so you just have a bunch of people that are blocking your parking and taking up space in your town, and then they're not really bringing anything to counter that. But this event, it's a celebration of 5 great pitmasters, great food, tradition of barbecue, and we're going to try to sell Asheboro as much as we can, and that's really the message that we want to put out there, is that we want you to go to the antique shop that's downtown. We want you to go get some fried chicken at Magnolia. We want you to go to Four Saints and grab a beer and come back out to the festival. We want to highlight what is there.
Yeah, and definitely has a similar environment, like I said, to Pinehurst and the Tar Heel Festival guys, Dave and company have put this together. And I saw you at Pinehurst last year, and you're exactly right. You've got the festival vendors kind of scattered around town, but then all of the shops around town are thriving and bustling with, extra foot traffic and busy activity. So really a win-win for everybody. How important has the Tar Heel Festival folks been to kind of bringing this to reality for you guys?
Dave and Peter are awesome. I mean, they had the infrastructure already in place, with them doing the Smithfield Cup, with them doing the Pinehurst Festival, and they do a couple of other events. So if it was us, we're trying to figure out how are we going to staff this? How are we going to get the infrastructure in place, the bathrooms, a lot of stuff that you don't think about. It's great. I can pull a smoker up into the park and I can start cooking, but I would have to train myself and learn the hard way a lot of the stuff that they're bringing to the table that they're experts in. And so for us, that was a no-brainer. We've always had a great time at Pinehurst, and they put on a great event. So reaching out to them and getting their knowledge for this event has just been a game changer. And we're thankful that they took it on. You got to get Dave off the golf course, and so I guess it's early in the season, so there's not a lot of golf being played at that time. So, but it has been awesome having them on board.
You get the planning and everything done in the rainy, cold season, so that when it's warm weather and he's on the golf course, you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. I go and I visit. He's got you up at TarHeelFestivals.com under Smoke Ashe. A great name. What a perfect name to kind of fit into that. Whose idea was that?
So that was actually the guys at Tar Heel. We were throwing around a bunch of names, couldn't really figure out what it was, and they said, just give us some time, we'll marinate on it. And they came up with the marketing piece of it and the name. So it's a perfect fit. We didn't know if we wanted to tie it into the zoo some, but they've got a new continent opening down there, so it's going to be a busy season for them. So this is just a great way to kind of kick off the warmer weather season and start to get people down there in Randolph County.
Wonderful. And I go and I look and I see that for the tickets, kids 12 and under are free for the festival. So
yeah, you gotta.
I've got one above, one below, so we can all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Black Powder Smokehouse. You said you've opened up in Asheboro there. You've got your legs under there, I'm sure. Take just a moment to tell everybody about Black Powder Smokehouse if they don't know, and maybe what they would expect when they visit one of the locations.
Yeah, so Black Powder, we are, a lot of people try to put us in the box that we're Texas style. We try to say that we really, I guess we have more barbecue ADD. We really don't have a style. We just want to serve good food and quality food. So Brisket's our number one seller. We started in Jamestown. It's an old gas station that was remodeled. We opened in 2019. And of course, 4 months after we opened, COVID hits, but extremely blessed to survive that and kind of help out. But, and then 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to open in Asheboro. And so, our style, you come in the door, we slice and chop everything right in front of you. It's homemade sides. We don't have a bunch of different sides. We just like to do them really well. And people just come and hang out. It's a very family-friendly environment. We get to know everybody's first names when they come in the door, if they're coming in quite a bit. So, and then we do a lot of fun stuff with the specials. We're getting ready to, and one of the reasons I was running a little behind is I had a captain here from Topsail Island who's going to start giving us some shrimp, and we're going to start doing some seafood on Fridays.
Nice.
And so we're super excited about that. And anytime we can get something that's North Carolina on board, we're going to. We definitely want to try to feature local farmers and producers, and so that's a big sticking point for us. So we can't be excited. We're going to start the shrimp tomorrow, so come in and get some fresh, local, no chemical, no treated shrimp right here.
Yeah, on Fridays would be great at Black Powder Smokehouse. Now I'm kind of partial to Cheerwine Chicken Thursday, right?
Oh, so yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
That's one of mine. And I love your baked beans. I visited the Jamestown location. You mentioned the locals. Do you get enough locals in both that maybe some people have a preference over the other location, Asheboro, Jamestown? I know they're 27 miles apart or so, but do you have folks visiting both, and do they have opinions?
Yeah, so we have most of the opinions come from the specials. As soon as we'll post a special for Jamestown, the first 3 people on Facebook will say, "When's this coming to Asheboro?" And so we try to our specials we leave up to our local crews, so they have some type of creativity. It gives them buy-in to the kitchen, and we just love to sit back there and brainstorm what can we come up with. And so the specials are probably where people are the most vocal, but I think we do a really good job about being consistent throughout the two smokehouses. So you can't really say, hey, I like the baked beans in Jamestown, but the ones in Asheboro aren't as good. I think my chef in Asheboro was with me here for the first 3 years. He was the first employee that we ever hired.
Okay.
And so he's really carried that on down there. And he's somebody that him and I kind of share the same brain, the same thoughts on things. And so the food, as far as just the normal everyday offerings, are pretty consistent. And we do have a lot of people that live in Asheboro but work in Greensboro, so they come here for lunch, and then on the weekends they might go to the smokehouse down there for dinner. And our biggest compliment is probably that they don't say, I really like Jamestown but I don't like Asheboro, or I really like Asheboro but the brisket in Jamestown is a little dry. So we don't hear that, and for us that's probably the best compliment that we can have.
Staying with the clientele a little bit, I'm based in Hickory, and as folks in High Point area furniture's big business a couple times a year around the big furniture market. How much does the furniture business bring across your doors, and especially in the Jamestown location?
Yeah, so Jamestown is a hot spot for the furniture market. There's a large percentage of people that rent out their houses during furniture market.
Yeah.
And so during that time, we have folks, and typically we see them once or twice a year, but they come back every single year. So we get to know their names, we get to know who they work for, and they can't wait to get into the smokehouse and get barbecue because they're coming in from Pennsylvania, or they're coming in from California or something like that. And we just don't have this type of food here.
Yeah.
And so it's fun for those folks to come in. Our catering business always picks up during that time, but we try to cater for people that we cater for year round. We do a lot of local furniture companies. And so furniture market's fun. It gets people into the area, it gets people into High Point, gets people into Jamestown, and kind of, this is a break for them. A lot of them are coming in suits and they're dressed super nice.
That's
and they
work,
can come in
yeah.
here and they can eat some brisket off of a tray with their hands if they want to. We're not going to judge here.
Sit down and relax, take a breather out of all the pressure from that cooker
right.
over there down
Have
the
the
road.
PBR and some brisket, and you're good to go.
Get past the big chest of drawers and
Yeah.
find big brisket at Black Powder in Jamestown. Now, hey, Keith, maybe talk a little bit, if you will, about the barbecue scene around your area. Obviously, Greensboro's got some fairly traditional barbecue places, but as you get a little bit further south to, High Point and Jamestown, and then on down to Asheboro, what's the barbecue tradition like there?
Yeah, so of course, when you're talking Greensboro, you've got Stamey's. Unfortunately, we've had some in High Point that have closed. You had Kepley's Barbecue. They were around over 70 years. Carter Brothers has closed. So when you see some of these people close, it's kind of sad for the barbecue scene because they've really got the history. That's one thing that you, in this business, you can't really buy. I can't open a business and say I've got 20 years of experience. Whereas Lexington Barbecue, it's third generation. Nathan is down there kind of carrying on the torch from his father and his grandfather. So, to have that type of history is just something that it just takes time to get. And so Stamey's is the local one here that, everybody compares everybody to. They're always on a top 10 list nationally. Of course, you got Lexington Barbecue and that whole tradition down the road, but we're a little bit outside of that niche because we're not a North Carolina barbecue place, and we don't tell people that when they come in the door. We have 4 different sauces. We do a ton of brisket and ribs and turkey and sausage, and you just don't see that at some of these other places. We Up in Jamestown, don't do hush puppies. A lot of people come in the door and say, "Where are the hush puppies?"
Yeah.
We don't do them. I love them. It's probably one of my favorite foods, and why I'm big brisket instead of little brisket or something. But yeah, the tradition. You've got a few new places that have opened that have been around. There's B3 Smokehouse over in High Point at Cogden Yards. He does a great job. And then Sweet Old Bill's. But, we always look at barbecue's not really a competition for us. It's, I would get out and meet all those guys and gals. And that's, one of the reasons I want to get over to east of Texas and get Claire involved in this. Because, I've just heard great things about them. And everybody does. You look at Texas and there's a barbecue place. They could be side by side. There could be 5 on the same block. But they're all friends and they all talk and they all have their own little secret recipe of things that they're not going to share. But, barbecue is just one of those. It's just really not a competition. I don't feel like we're competing against Stamey's or Sweet Old Bill's or any of those. I was always told you don't have to hate somebody's barbecue to like somebody else's. And so that's kind of, how we look at it too.
Yeah, so taking a step outside of barbecue here for a second, I see Big Brisket out there doing some chefy stuff here and there. I know you've got some partnerships here and there, and then the North Carolina Restaurant Leisure Association, you're competing out in that, and some other things kind of out in the world. What hole does these culinary chefy events fill for you outside of what you're doing in barbecue?
So that's really how I started in this business, going started in country clubs, got into resorts, went to culinary school. So I grew up on kind of the bougie side of food, and where you're putting together plates with tweezers and that type of thing. And so to revisit knowing what I know now and trying to incorporate, the barbecue side of things or the flavors that we get, but put them in an elevated package on a plate for a competition. It just kind of keeps things fresh for me. It lets me get outside of the box of cooking a shoulder or a brisket and try to think how I'm going to put this on a plate with a couple bites and really focus. The NCRLA is such a driver of local producers and some of the just great stuff that we have in the state. And then for me to try to figure out how to put the flavors together and put that on the plate for some judges where they're going to grade me well. It's kind of an honor to be able to do that with what we have here. So again, it gets my brain out of the normal everyday and lets me be a little more creative and go back to my upbringing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it keeps everything else fresh on both sides of the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
I want to get back to the festival conversation and talk about the Smithfield Cup and the Carolina BBQ Festival. It's coming up April 17th and 18th, Charlotte's Victoria Yards. Before the festival, it's Brisket and Biscuits, the barbecue brunch at Town Brewing Company in Charlotte, Saturday, March 28th. Chefs and pitmasters will team up and serve 6 dishes as part of the Charlotte Savor activities this year. You can always keep up with what's happening in the Queen City at charlottesgotalot.com. For tickets to all the Carolina BBQ Festival events, visit carolinabbqfest.org. A portion of the festival proceeds support Operation Barbecue Relief and all the great things that Stan Hayes and his team do to provide hot food in the wake of disaster. Get your tickets today. Use promo code LOW and SLOW for a discount. Then join us at the barbecue brunch or Friday's kickoff with all the best Charlotte barbecue. Of course, there's Saturday's main event. More than 25 pitmasters, including today's guest, Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse in Asheboro and Jamestown, North Carolina. Before we get to the barbecue festival, Keith, you represented North Carolina in the Smithfield Cup in Elizabeth City last year. Old North State, Palmetto State, head-to-head. What happened? How could you let the trophy go south?
It was rigged. I'm just going to – yes. So – the South Carolina team had their whole family and all that stuff there, but yeah, we got our butts kicked, and they had to come back without the trophy. And believe me, Lou and Matt, they won it the year before and brought it back to North Carolina, and then we lost it back to South Carolina. So it was an awesome event. It was fun. We had great weather. We were kind of worried. There was a couple hurricanes that came through right before that, but it's awesome. We've actually got Unity coming to the Smoke and Ashe Festival, so there's no hard feelings there. It was fun. It's a great event. Again, Peter and Dave put on just an amazing showcase of barbecue. But yeah, we lost the trophy.
That's all right. You know the strategy for next time. Pack the house. I've used that strategy for the chili cook-off in the past.
I'm calling every relative I got, and they're coming in, friends, family. I'm gonna buy their rooms.
The good news is everybody is a winner at the Carolina BBQ Festival. You get a ticket, you're going to win. Now, I know, Keith, you've been there 4 out of the 5 years of the festival. This is the big 5th anniversary. How do you feel like that festival's evolved since you first got started back at Old Camp North End, apart from just kind of a different location?
Yeah, Lou's just continued to build that. It's an awesome event. I think it's great for the city of Charlotte. It's great for all of us barbecue guys because I mean it's our chance to all get together. We all have businesses throughout the year, and to be able to break away and go down there and just kind of hang out with your barbecue brotherhood is just fun. It seems like he's got a whole bus of pitmasters this year. It seems like it grows every year, but you know, there's some guys that you wouldn't get to meet on a normal basis. And he's got some heavy hitters coming in this year. And like I said, just being able to take a break from the restaurant, go down, mingle with the public, and just celebrate what we do and what people have been doing for hundreds of years, just cooking over a fire. It's fun, and I can't wait to see some of the guys and hang out and talk about how our year's going and all that good stuff. So we're looking forward to it.
Now, Keith, I'm looking at the calendar here, and I see April 17th and 18th, Carolina BBQ Festival, 24th and 25th. My math's not great, but I think that's the next weekend. You feel like you could get kind of run out of gas between 2 weekends?
Yeah, it's going to be. I told my wife that 2 or 3 weeks right there is going to be brutal, but. My family loves to be part of these. They're with me at the Carolina Festival all the time. I put them to work. Of course, you got free labor with family, so that's always good. But it's going to be tight. It just happened to play out that way. But for me, what better way to spend 2 great weekends other than eating barbecue and just kind of hanging out outside with the weather starting to break and all that good stuff.
Knowing your involvement in the Carolina BBQ Festival over the years, how much have you talked with Sweet Lou as you've started to kind of get this Smoke and Ashe Festival ginned up?
He was the first person I called, actually. Knowing Lou has always been just a great resource for us. I mean, even before we opened Jamestown, I found out that he had the same smoker that we have in Jamestown. And so I was able to go down and spend the day with him. Didn't know him at all at that point, and he shared everything. It was Lou's just a stand-up guy, and he's really built this festival more into a brand, which is great. So he was the first person I called when we started talking about doing the Smoke and Ashe and just saying, hey, what do I need to be thinking of? So yeah, he was one of the drivers for getting the guys at Tar Heel involved because again, Lou's at the Pinehurst Festival.
Sure.
So yeah, he was the first one I was on the phone with.
Yeah, and that's part of the barbecue community. You guys sharing information along those hotlines on the phone all along. Have you thought about what you want to bring on a menu item either at Carolina or in Asheboro yet?
I don't know if all that's been announced yet, but I think
now no time like the present.
Yeah. I talked to Lou the other day, and I think he wants us to kind of do what we did similar to last year. If that helps at all.
If it helps at all. I remember some really good wings last year.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing chicken wings again.
Okay.
He had such good feedback, and asked if we would do those again. And so we're going to do those. And just to make it easy, we're probably going to do the same at the Asheboro Festival.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that'll help with that week. But the dinner on Friday night at the Smoke and Ashe is going to be a great menu. It's going to be completely different. It's going to be kind of a high-end NCRLA type menu that we put on for that. So, yep, I think we're going to be doing wings.
Yeah, still a little bit of time. And of course, follow TarHeelFestivals.com. Follow us. We'll keep you updated as you guys make some menu announcements. Of course, on the Instagram, I know Smoke and Ashe is over there as well. And of course, Black Powder Smokehouse has both a Jamestown and an Asheboro social media presence. So very good. Follow all those guys and they'll keep you updated on stuff. Keith, you've been so generous with your time. I really appreciate the chance to talk to you about this great new festival and barbecue in general. Always enjoy seeing you out in the world. I want to take a moment to allow you a chance to talk about something we haven't talked about. Maybe you want to talk about. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've covered a lot in a small amount of time. Just follow us on social media and learn more about the Smoke and Ashe. We would love to make this a success and do it every single year. And then come and see us at the Carolina BBQ Festival. You can't beat that event, and most people can't even eat their way through that. You got 30 pitmasters, and you think about the amount of food that you're going to eat there. It's a steal of a ticket. So come see us at either one, and we look forward to kind of doing this again next year too.
And that, my friends, is the final word from Keith Henning from Black Powder Smokehouse in Jamestown and Asheboro and the Smoke and Ashe Barbecue Festival. Check out all the great stuff they do on Instagram, as we said, on Black Powder Smokehouse in Jamestown, Black Powder Asheboro, and find them at blackpowdersmokehouse.com. Keith, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I always love talking to you.
You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, sponsored by the Carolina BBQ Festival, April 17th and 18th in Charlotte's Victoria Yards. Reserve your tickets for the Carolina BBQ Festival, carolinabbqfest.org. Be sure and use promo code Low and Slow, all one word, all caps. You'll get a discount. You'll always want to get a discount for all that barbecue, so much you won't even be able to eat it all. Again, details, carolinabbqfest.org. To our audience, thank you so much for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. If you like what you hear, share our podcast with your food-loving friends, and please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast. For more interviews and pitmaster and chef conversations from the Carolina BBQ Festival, or to find the Black Powder Smokehouse macaroni and cheese recipe, visit lowslowbbqshow.com. We got that recipe on the blog. You find other barbecue reviews and stories on the blog as well. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. We deliver the latest Carolina barbecue news to your email inbox on Tuesdays. That will give you the update on the menus as they're announced for some of these festivals down the line here in the next few weeks. The Low and Slow Barbecue Show is proud to be part of the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. Visit the Mesh.tv for other great podcasts. I'm a big fan of Big Fan. It's a podcast with Chad and Hank talking about latest things that's caught the world attention, whatever that may be, week to week. Behind the scenes and all that, it's our producer, Andrew Moose. We couldn't do our weekly podcast without him. Thank you, sir. For the Low and Slow Barbecue Show, I'm Sugar Willard reminding you that for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.